Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the live recording of episode 33 of Client by Client. Thank you so much for being here. Wherever you're watching this, be sure to drop some emojis, drop some reactions, and let me know where you're watching in from. Would love to say hi and just give you a personal thanks for being here. Let me make sure I have my comments and reactions up. There we go. Cold brew gang, if you're in the house, when you're in the house, drop some fire emojis if you had your cold brew coffee today. If you got your day started the right way, the only way, then drop some emojis. Guys, it's getting humid and hot here in Arizona. It's a little muggy out with some of these clouds. So air conditioner just kicked on. Hope you can't hear that because that's going to be necessary for today's recording. Okay. Yesterday in the podcast, if you haven't checked it out already, head to Apple Podcast and get today's show, which was you hit 15K. Now what? You brought some money in, you got some clients. What next? Where does that money need to go? I share with you exactly what to do and what not to do to set yourself up for continued success. That said, let's hop in and do this damn thing. Hey guys, what's up? Jeremy here from whatupjeremy.com, back with another episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for being here today. In the last episode, in episode 32 of Client by Client, we went and did something that we've done in the past in episode 23, which is kind of a showdown. And instead of doing, last time we did, what did we do last time? Email list building versus Facebook groups. So in the last episode of Client by Client, we did the old classic showdown. If you recall, in episode 23, we pitted up against Facebook groups versus email list building. So if you haven't already listened to that episode, head back to 23 and then head to yesterday's episode where I shared with you the differences, pros and cons, and which to choose between one-on-one or group coaching. I share with you my thoughts, my philosophies. You might be surprised, in all honesty, on both of them, and that can help you make your decision for your coaching program, for your offer, and what to do in your online business. But here into today's episode, what we're talking about is 4 daily habits for successful online coaches. Now, what I need for you to understand is these are the habits that help me out a whole ton. And these habits are not necessarily business tactic and strategy. These are, you can train the jockey, and then there's a whole separate training for the horse. And in this episode, you're going to be the horse. You're going to need to be what's taken care of, maintained, evaluated, and kept in tip-top shape. And so whereas you're normally the jockey, right, you're working in your business, we need to make sure the horse is taken care of as well, because you need that vehicle to get you into the finish line. That might not be the best analogy, but we'll go with it right now and see where that leads us. The first habit for successful online coaches. The first habit for successful online coaches, probably my favorite one on here, is to meditate. And I think that it is a broken record with how many people are telling you to meditate. And it's equally an opposite of broken record with people who hear that all day long, but then don't meditate. If you're an online coach and you're helping people to self-develop and you aren't doing these sort of small maintenance things along the way, I think it not only, one, gets really hard to stay in the business for any amount of time, but there's all these obstacles and things that happen on a day-to-day basis that will take you off of your highest and best energy. And with all of these problems comes the thinking of it, comes some of the emotions with it. And I think that when you meditate, that gives you the option to, and it gives you the chance and opportunity to reset. It gives you the opportunity to quiet the mind, because if you're anything like me, business and life are on your mind from the first moment that you wake up, and maybe not in the most positive light. And so if you're like me and can get a little down, get a little negative, get a little pessimistic when you don't have food in you, I want to challenge you to meditate. And just like in the business strategies that I give you guys on this show, if you are not doing certain things, put it at the beginning of your day as close to wake up as possible. So if you're not meditating right now and you keep putting it off and you know that you need to do it, what I want you to do tomorrow is get up, get ready, do the things you do in your routine. And then before you get to touching your computer, I want for you to sit down for 10 minutes in solitude. And there shouldn't be necessarily a goal of this time that you meditate. Who am I to tell you what to do in this personal practice? But I prefer for there not to be any goal, because when I do that, I start to get attached to the outcome. And the whole point for me in meditation is to get rid of the outcomes and to quiet my mind from thinking about them at a large breaststroke. And so what I want for you to do is to focus on your breath, focus on your breathing, let me rephrase that. What works for me is focusing on my breathing, feeling my feet on the ground, feeling clothes on my body, feeling each breath in and out, And the more I just cycle through focusing on those things and not on my thoughts, and when a thought comes into my mind, getting back to feeling my feet, feeling my breath, feeling the clothes on my body, the pillow behind my back, whatever it is, the chair underneath me, these things help the mind to actually quiet down. And it's through practicing this every day that you build a muscle around it. And what ends up happening is that more times than not, you get to a place where your mind actually slows down and quiets. And when that happens, there's like no better feeling. It's like having a life shower in the middle of your day. And will that happen every time? No. So that's why I try to not get attached to the outcome, because you're going to get a lot of the benefits of meditating just by doing the sitting down, sitting still, not staring at your phone, closing your eyes and breathing for 10 minutes, as you will getting to a point of complete and utter silence in your mind, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. My meditators who are listening to this, they understand that. And so it's a journey to go on in meditation that you get better at, and that for me continues to be something that I rely on and resort to in the best and worst of times, and to reset no matter how I'm feeling or how things are going, and to make it one of those things that I just do. There are probably maybe one day out of each week where I don't meditate. That's probably going to be on the weekend where I'm just around more people. But even then, I try to not let that sidetrack me from the benefits of just slowing my mind down, focusing on my breath, letting go of thoughts that may or may not be serving me necessarily, or things that I can't control, and get back into the things I can control. I can control my breath. If I can quiet the mind, I can be a lot more lightweight and carry a lot less of the energies and the things that are going on in other areas of my life into where I'm going in next, or just to reset my intention and to move forward. So I think the first habit, that if you're not doing this, that would be great to integrate into your day and into your flow, into your business flow, is meditation. That's thing number one. Thing number two, I have not always been the most consistent with this, and just like meditating, it's going to be something that you start to do and then you get stronger and better at, and you continue going on and upwards with in your journey, which is about working out. This does not need to be going to the gym necessarily. This does not necessarily need to be heavy lifting or heavy weight, but I'm just sharing what works for me. And when I'm working out and on my routine, I feel so much better about everything else. And when you think about like what I'm doing here with live streaming and ambitions of creating and producing more content, having more photos and videos that I'm doing and taking and putting out there, it is motivating when you look good that you start to feel good. And if you right now don't feel good about how you look, you're probably going to be way more hesitant to be on camera. And when you think about the longevity of your health, when you think about all the things that happened in the world when it comes to health over the last few years, and you think about keeping your horse in tip-top shape, right? If you're treating yourself like a horse, then you would want to make sure that it's regularly getting exercise, that it's not necessarily burning itself out, but it is getting the lungs going, it's breaking a sweat, it has daily goals that it's achieving outside of the business for you in this case. And so one of the second things that's helped me in my daily habits is hitting the gym or of working out. Every now and again, that's not hitting the gym and just making sure I get a minimum of 10,000 steps in. I don't wear an Apple Watch. I put my phone in my pocket. I use the health app, even though it's a little inconsistent and doesn't track exactly as precise as some other devices might. It does enough for me, and it allows for me to just make sure that I'm burning those extra calories. So if you're not regularly working out, this is probably going to be something that you want to inch into and that you want to start creating habits around, because there have been literal times over the last 24 months where everyone I was around was sick besides me. And that could be because I work out. That could be because I meditate. I wouldn't doubt that necessarily. That could be because I get 5 to 10 minutes of full body sunlight every single day, which I didn't include in here on and as a thing, because I just think it's a bit more advanced. As easy as that sounds of going out and get sunlight, a lot of my clients are from Canada. That's really hard to do when it's so overcasty and so cold outside. Getting 10,000 steps for them is very often very hard to do. So you got to get creative. I live in Arizona. It's the equal and opposite. It's really hot outside. The last thing you want to do this time of year and on, which is like April, May and on until about October, November, is be outside. And so I will just literally walk a route in my house. You guys have also heard me recently talk about a program I'm in and doing called Knees Over Toes. I'll do those exercises and workouts. And while those don't get me necessarily buffer and don't get me more strong looking, they allow for me to be in the gym getting more strong looking and getting stronger. And while you can't see the physical result, I know inside in my joints and in my body that I'm getting stronger there, and I'm increasing the longevity of my ability to get into the gym. We talk a lot about another horse analogy about getting bucked off the horse, right? When you get off, sometimes you don't get back on for months in the beginning of your entrepreneurial or online business journey. But as you get committed to online coaching and you get clients and you have people, systems, and things dependent upon you, you can't let that happen. You can't go a month without touching your business. You can't go a week. You can't go a day. So you get bucked off the horse and you create this stamina and this endurance in you just to get back on and to forget what went wrong and got you off there in the first place. So anytime you're starting something new, like an extreme sport, if you ever did anything at all that was remotely dangerous in your youth or now, you know that once you fall, it's like, oh, okay, it wasn't all that bad. And you start to get back up, or you don't and you give up. It's one or the other. But I think that working out keeps you getting back on the horse. I think it gives you the ability to maybe to withstand. I think it gives you the potential to withstand things like the common cold and other viruses that might go around, whether they are labeled correctly or not. And this gives your body a standing chance to fight that even better. And for you, if should you unfortunately do get sick, that you're able to get back into the business and stay in it even longer. So the second habit is working out, just creating a health regimen, guys. And this starts with creating a little bit of a habit, maybe in your day to day, and maybe with getting to the gym. A lot of us work from home and a lot of us have that ability. So being able to get out of the house for an hour to 90 minutes every day is actually like a dream come true for many of us. And if you right now at all are feeling like you're stuck at home and like you've maybe created a small little prison for yourself, getting to the gym and getting outside and getting physical activity and not in your work environment is one of those things that I think can just give you a ton of energy and keep you motivated and keep you going. So the second totally non-business habit for you to succeed in online coaching is working out. Number three, this is going to get a little bit more tactical. And I think that we assume that everyone knows to do this, but I think that I think that you listening right now and every person in my world has the opportunity to get better at this, myself included, which is following your calendar. A few episodes back, we talked about making a plan for your money before it comes in so that you have a plan for it and you're starting to intend for it to happen. I think it's the same with your time. And if your money isn't right, when you look at your time, that probably has a lot of clues as to why. So daily habit number 3 for you to succeed as an online coach is to follow your calendar. And this starts with putting in the things you're going to be doing today, or maybe that you've already done up to this point of listening to the show. And then it starts to get into, okay, what are my habits? What are the things and the non-negotiables that need to happen? And putting those quote unquote big rocks into the cylinder that is the container that is your calendar. And so if you know you're going to be hitting the gym, that goes in. If you know you're going to meditate, that goes in. Maybe you do a live stream like this or a podcast, that needs to go in. Client conversations, client delivery, prospecting, planning, self-development, all of these things need to go in eventually into your calendar and then become recurring events so that you can start to follow that. So point number 3 here, daily habit number 3 is to follow your calendar. I don't know anyone in my life, maybe besides Joe Polish, who has an opportunity to get better about following the calendar and planning your time. When you don't have a plan for your time, there's no choice but for the universe to provide that, some sort of authority to come in, whether it's a boss or a significant other or someone else telling you to do with your time. So I think the best thing that you can be doing right now is to make a plan for your time. Where is every minute going to go, or getting as close to saying, where are my business minutes going to go? What needs to go in? And then as you start to do that, you start to then, okay, business is going well and is planning well and is now going smoothly. How can I do that with my life? How can I do that with my relationships? How can I do that with my health? And then you start to put in those rocks and those things become priorities. When you put them in your calendar, you can start to protect them and start to make different decisions in front of you in the moment in real time. So a lot of people feel like this can be constricting, and what you don't realize, or for anyone that says that doesn't realize, is that it's through discipline that you create the kind of freedom that actually comes with an online business. And if you just want to be willy-nilly and completely free all day long, what you're going to realize is that you leave a lot of opportunity on the table. You leave a lot of check boxes unmarked and undone, and that starts to bleed into your life, and then your life starts to bleed into business, and you end up with a whole mess of things not going the way that you're wanting because you don't even have the time to get intentional about creating those plans and get into imagining what that dream and what that reality looks like that you're not in right now. And so I think that you need to start following your calendar. And if you're not doing that right now as good of a job, put in everything you've done up until this point in today, just for this rolling day that you're in. Put everything up to right now, and then start planning with the blocks of time, and then start looking at the rest of the week and start to think about what big rocks need to go in. Um, in conjunction with point number 2 in working out, I still have a ton of room to get better. And one of the ways that I wanted to get better over the last 2 years was in tracking my food and my caloric intake. In fact, I've had more progress physically from managing and monitoring my caloric intake than for probably going to the gym, although they go hand in hand. But when you're like me and you're counting your calories, that influences your decision and it influences your choices to be going to the gym and vice versa. You want to be eating good so that you can feel good in the gym and feel good out of it, and so that you can be getting the most out of what you're doing in the gym. And once you start to plan what's going in the gym, you might as well start planning what's going in your mouth and get the full thing, right? Get the full picture. So I say all of that to say that I began tracking my calories about 2 years ago now, and I continuously get better. And one of the leaps I've made over the last 30 days is now I'm starting to plan the rest of my week as far as meals and macros based upon what's in the fridge, meetings I have, places in town that I'm going to be, and kind of what's on my radar. And then now I can start to accept different kinds of meetings and opportunities if I plan around it. If I get to 5:00 in the PM, for me to accept a dinner invitation is really hard, because any restaurant I'm going to go to is sprucing these things up with butter and these great tasting things, which add a whole ton of calories. It's harder to track. And my goals right now are equal with business and with life and with my health. And so it's really important to me that I'm hitting these calories on most days. And so at 5:00, when I've already pre-planned in and I'm more than 3/4 of the way through my plan, I'm probably going to make the decision to stick around and eat what I have planned inside of there. And then next week, though, I can be a little bit more flexible. So I say all that to say that when you have your calendar planned out, this gives you the freedom to be saying yes and no to what's in front of you. Maybe you have a friend and you guys have a little bit of a routine together, and maybe that's not in alignment with your goals. If you have things going on in the calendar, this is going to give you reasons to say no and to very hopefully politely eject from it or move that into a time in your week where you're not so focused on your goals, or a time in your life where you're not so focused on your goals. We've talked recently about the season of your life that you're in. Sometimes you need to be in a season of no because you're saying yes to these very few important things to you. And then other times there's times to be in a season of yes, and to be focusing on other things in life, and to be saying no to the things you may have been saying yes to at one point in time, because you evolved, put systems in place, got the results, and now you're at a different place in time and in reality, and you're able to make these decisions. Thing number 3 is that you need to follow your calendar. For many of you, I know this is a reminder, but this is also a reminder that you have more opportunity to be following, to be planning, and to be knowing where every minute of your day goes, and to be knowing exactly where you're headed as far as your time. The best way I know of hitting your goals, of hitting anything that you're trying to achieve in life, is to make a plan for it, is to plan on it happening. And when you start to follow that plan, I think that you don't get 100% certainty you're going to get there, but your odds become astronomical in comparison to the people who don't make plans, don't carve out the time, and don't protect it. Thing number 4. And before we talk about thing number 4, if you're getting value from this show and you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button, depending what podcast listener or podcast app you're using, or if you're catching this anywhere else online, be sure to leave a comment and subscribe. This really does help the show to find more coaches, and for the algorithm to know exactly who to serve it to. Thing number 4 is the daily reset. I think that it's important to have a midway point in your day where you can pause and reflect and think about and maybe write down some things on how things are currently going. This is probably my biggest opportunity of these 4. And while I have it in my calendar, and while I take a second to think about what needs to come up next, I put this on here because this is truly an opportunity for myself. I would love to feel like and have the effect of having 2 days for every 1 day. So what I'm imagining is that on my daily reset, I restart my day almost the exact way I did in the morning, where I have a meditation, I have a process, maybe I journal, and I do a little log for how things are going. I make a little plan for and visualize how the rest of the day is going, and then continue on from there until about 5:00, which is just 2-ish hours, 2.5 hours before bedtime for me right now. So I think that the daily reset is an opportunity for you listening right now because of how much can happen in a day. And if right now you're going hard, you're going 6, 7, 8 hours, planning a little halfway point there to stop and breathe, to meditate, to put your feet on the ground outside, to do those sorts of things, maybe get a couple minutes of sunlight, and to take care of yourself inside of there, and to keep going in business, I think this is a really good way to be able to pause, reflect, and get a pulse for how things are going, how you're feeling, how your mood is, to then determine where you're going to be putting your energy or what energy you need to show up with in the next thing that's coming up on your calendar that you pre-planned. So number 4 is the daily reset. And I think that this is a healthy habit because this allows for you to pause in the day and get a really quick analysis for how things are going and to start making your decisions better or different going forward for the second half of the day. And maybe you're like me and you can accomplish one day in time, having 2 days for every one day and make more progress than most people make in that one day, let alone before most people are awake. In the next episode of Client by Client, I'm going to be sharing with you something that happens to every online coach in their journey. And if it hasn't happened to you, I can promise you it will. This is just something that comes with the nature of the business that I want to have on your radar or want for you to be able to navigate more readily and more easily, which is how to prevent clients from giving up. In this world of coaching, we hold people to their biggest dreams and aspirations. And when things don't go great, it's very easy to want to give up. I think you listening and everyone else here can agree and relate to that in some way. And so I just want to share with you guys how to prevent it from happening so that you have less cancellations, less refunds, less heartbreak, and you have more success stories and more case studies to share with your online audience. Whenever you're ready, here are 3 ways I can help you grow your online business. Coaches, if you're still managing your lead flow inside of Instagram, inside of Messenger, in your email inbox, you're losing leads and you're losing money in the cracks. This is why I created GetBookedCRM. It's 100% free right now, and what it allows for coaches to do is to get clients in half the time it normally takes, but on top of that, it's going to help you get leads. So you'll get a copy of the CRM. I'm going to start that one over. Whenever you're ready, here are 3 ways I can help you grow your online business. Coaches, if you're still managing your leads from the Instagram DM, from Facebook Messenger, and your email inbox and places like it, you're leaving leads and money on the table. This is exactly why I created GetBookedCRM. Right now, it's 100% free, and it helps you get leads and turn them into clients in half the time. Online coaches, message me the letters CRM over on Instagram at WhatUpJeremy for your free copy now. Just message me the letters or drop the letters CRM. Second, join my free group for online coaches. We're growing. We almost got 1,000 folks inside, and I'd love for you to be next. Get access to me, my weekly trainings, and get around other coaches who are just a step ahead at the same step or one small baby step behind you. All you have to do is message me the word group on Instagram or drop the word group wherever you're watching this for your free invite. Lastly, become my next success story. I'm getting some coaches together over the next 90 days to implement my strategies for getting 3 to 5 clients like clockwork every single month, or doubling your online client roster over the next 30, 60, 90 days. But working with the right people is the most important to me. So this is only for you if you're a relationship-focused coach who always puts the person ahead of the money. You've been coaching for at least 1 year, or you're not just brand new to online coaching. You'd like to get 3 to 5 clients organically from Facebook or Instagram every month or week without spending money on paid ads. You have at least 300 friends on a social media platform, or members in a group or list on an email list, or subscribers on an email list. You're willing to take bold action because you know that your success depends upon it. And last but not least, and probably most importantly, you can keep a secret. If that's you, I want for you to grab your phone right now, head to Instagram, locate me at WhatUpJeremy, and send me the words case study. I'll share with you what we have coming up in the Get Clients program. I'm going to ask you a couple questions first, and then I'll share with you what we have coming up in the Get Clients program, how we're already helping other coaches just like you, and which of my strategies and what part of the program and plan will make the most impact on your business the soonest. Online coaches, grab your phone right now and message me the words case study. That's it for today's episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers. Boom. All right. If you made it all the way to the end and you're here hanging out, I want you to drop here hanging. That way I know and I can give you a shout out and some love. Thanks so much for tuning in here. Thank God the temperature cooled down in this room, because this would have been hard and uphill if it had been as hot as I am in front of this window and with the temperature outside. Okay, team. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm off student meeting coming up here in the next few minutes for one of my one-on-one clients. And then got some editing and stuff to do because I head out of town tomorrow for some family stuff. So I hope this finds you well. Hope everything is going well. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you guys in the next one.